Okay, the New Orleans Saints decide to select Kelvin Banks Jr., who was a player I fell in love with in this evaluation process, and you're going to see why when we get into the film. I think this is an incredible player for the New Orleans Saints, a guy who I actually had as my tackle 1 in this draft class, offensive lineman 1. He ends up being the third one selected, which was expected. But yeah, as a Tampa Bay fan, not thrilled with both the Panthers and the Saints, I think, making very smart picks. Hopefully the Falcons can screw it up. But yeah, I think this is really smart. Now, they drafted Talise Fuaga last year, who I thought played solid. I think that they're maybe hoping that Fuaga and Banks can now maybe be a tackle tandem of the future. Back when they had, Drew Brees, they usually had very good tackles. I think they know the value of something like that. So again, I think that kind of helping out this situation for whoever it ends up being at quarterback, I think that it's hard to look at that and say that that's a bad move. They desperately need to help out in that scenario, in that area. So helping out by getting someone at the tackle position, that makes sense. Again, some people would wonder, is this the correct player? But to me, yes, I think he's a great player. So let's get into film and talk about why I think he is a great player. Let's start off with this play. What's going to happen here is you see Banks is going up one-on-one against an edge rusher. And to me, this is a great example of why I think perhaps Banks has gotten a bit underrated. So, okay, one-on-one against an edge rusher. Let's see what happens. Right off the bat, you're going to see right here. So the edge rusher is going to go for a bit of an inside move and then get the right hand. It's honestly a good move by this edge rusher. Gets his right hand sort of towards the left side of Banks. However, watch how Banks is able to get his hand placement back and get in position to ultimately still be able to make this block. Now, at this point, the edge rusher who he's going up against is going to try and get more towards the outside. And also just worth noting, I'm calling him the edge rusher, but this is Jalen Walker who he's going up against. So, big prospect itself. So these are, two NFL players essentially going up against each other. But watch what happens. Walker goes more for the outside, and Banks is able to shove Walker back. Ultimately, though, Walker does get the sack here, right? He lands into Ewers, and Ewers gets tackled. But when you think about that play, Ewers was at the goal line on that situation. Keep in mind, the ball was snapped at the 11-yard line. As a tackle, you can't block that far back. To me, this is a great job by Kelvin Banks to just not allow pressure on that side of the field. Ultimately, it's just, your quarterback bears some responsibility in protecting themselves, and I think Ewers sometimes made Banks look a little worse in that regard. Ewers was often trying to do a lot, and hey, listen, a lot of times it worked out in college, but it also had its times when it made Banks look worse. But heading over to something like this, honestly, this is what you usually see when you watch Kelvin Banks play, is watch what happens. Right off the bat, you see it's an interior defensive lineman, but you see Banks is able to get that left hand, because, plays left tackle, so that left hand is going to be so important, and he's able to get it all the way to the right side of the Georgia player's body that he's going up against. And at that point, he just has the strength to make sure that he holds on, and that's what it makes him great, right? It's his power in his hands. He gets the hand placement he wants consistently, and then at that point, it's just really hard to win. Like this one's another one where it's going to be, again, Georgia has good players, right? This is not some random school that we're talking about right here. When this play begins, watch the hands and watch how much work there is to get the hand placement he wants, but ultimately Banks is going to win this matchup. And so, he'll go up against guys who are getting their hands involved, trying to make things happen, but Banks is just so good at making sure that he's ultimately winning that chess match. And because of that, at this point, what do? You're not going to overpower him. You're kind of screwed. And, I made the comparison on the podcast to Tyron Smith, and that's an unfair comparison because Tyron Smith, he might be a Hall of Famer one day, right? Incredible tackle, but Banks has those stretches where that's who he reminds me of the elite ability to get the hand placement he wants, and then there's just no way that you can overpower him. Now, Smith was a bit more nimble than Banks for sure, but Banks just has that. And as you see, of course, finishes off the play. The ball came out basically right after, so that is what it is. But yeah, ultimately, really good stuff here from Banks. And he's a player who's aware. Stuff like this, where you're going to have a stunt right here for the, two defensive linemen essentially are going to change positions for lack of, just to simplify things. We can call it that way. So Banks has to pay attention. When this play begins, you see it right here. So first, Banks doing a good job, I think at this point, realizing, okay, I got to pass this player off to the guard. Over there's a Georgia player who's going to try and go over and get in position to, get past Banks. And hopefully for him, Banks is still locked in on the guy he was supposed to, block at the beginning that he, can't get over there. However, watch as you're going to see that Banks is able to read this well, gets over and makes the block. So again, not a guy you're going to trick like that. He definitely understands the game of football and understands what he's supposed to be doing here. But like something like this, so it's a one-on-one matchup, and to me, this is, again, ultimately, it's kind of what I've been talking about earlier, but ultimately the thing that I think is why I just think he's going to work at the NFL level. So, okay, one-on-one block. As you see right here, again, it's that left hand. Watch how he reaches out and he grabs the right arm of the edge rusher he's going up against. For a left tackle, the left hand is what matters because that's kind of your most, your biggest line of defense right here. And as of right now, for your, 40 edge rusher, well, how do you get that left hand out of position? You kind of can't because your hands are getting held onto by Banks. Again, because of that, Banks is just able to win. And again, the pass blocking, like if you're an analytics guy, the pass blocking analytics are through the roof with Banks. Like he's just a ridiculous pass blocker. The run blocking isn't what he's known for, but I still think he's an effective run blocker. Like heading over here, so what's going to happen on this one is it's a double team block right here. Banks is the one who is all the way over to the right. He's going to get off the double team block and block someone at the next level. Watch. So, double team block here. Banks then goes over to the next level, trying to block, player in open space. This is not the easiest thing to do. And as I mentioned, I think, I think that his strength is hands and power. So you wonder, well, how can he hold up in terms of, being able to move in open space like this? But as you see here, he does a pretty good job. He's able to get in position and be able to ultimately finish off that block. That's a really good job, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, he's just a good player. Like, ultimately, that's how I view him, is there's just the incredible hands, the incredible power, really nimble, a player who I just like a lot, and I think he's a fantastic, piece for his new team. So, ultimately, yeah, that's what I think about Kelvin Banks. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video and want to hear more of my thoughts, well, for one thing, you can check out my movie channel. Yes, I have a movie channel. You can check the link in the description below. I do some fun things like some movie reviews, even some TV show reviews, tier list, fun things like that, so you can check that out. Also, make sure that you are subscribed and paying attention to this channel, as there will be plenty of draft content. I plan on making a video for every first round pick, many of the other picks throughout the draft, and also I will do recaps for each team after the draft is over. So I will eventually talk about every single pick from your favorite team. Be on the lookout for that, as it will be out this weekend. And also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Jackson Kruger, or X, whatever you prefer to call it. But yeah, that's all I got. Thanks again for watching till the end of the video.